We all have fears. Some of us are afraid of heights. Some of us are afraid of spiders. Some of us are afraid of the dark. But there is one fear that is hardwired into the deepest, most primitive part of the human brain. It is a fear so overwhelming that just thinking about it makes your chest feel tight. It makes your breathing shallow. Taphophobia, the fear of being buried alive. Imagine waking up in total darkness. You can't move your arms because they are taped to your chest. You can't move your legs because they are bound together. You can't scream because there is a gag in your mouth. You feel walls pressing in on you from every side. Not walls of wood or concrete, but walls of cardboard. And then you hear the sound that seals your fate. Thump, thump, thump. The heavy, wet sound of soil hitting the box. You are being erased. You are being put into the earth while your heart is still beating. The air is running out. You have maybe 30 minutes, maybe less. In that moment, 99.9% of people would panic. They would hyperventilate. They would use up their oxygen screaming into the gag. They would die of terror before they died of suffocation. But Michelina Lewandowska was not part of that 99.9%. Lying in that box, buried under inches of heavy soil in the middle of a forest in Huddersfield, England, she realized she had one thing. One tiny, glittering, sharp object that her attacker had forgotten to take. An object that was supposed to be a symbol of love, but was about to become a tool for survival. Her diamond engagement ring. This is the story of the woman who literally clawed her way out of her own grave. It is the story of a mother who decided that no amount of dirt, tape, or betrayal would keep her from seeing her son again. If you want to know what the human mind is capable of when it is backed into the ultimate corner, please hit that subscribe ** button right now. You need to hear this story, because it proves that as long as you have breath, you have a weapon. To understand how a woman ends up in a box under the ground, we have to look at the relationship that put her there. It was 2011. Michelina Lewandowska was 27 years old. She was Polish, living in Huddersfield, UK. She was beautiful, hardworking, and utterly devoted to her young son. She lived with her fiancé, Marcin Kasprzak. Marcin was the father of her child. He was the man she had planned her life with. He was the one who gave her the ring, the very ring that was currently on her finger. But the relationship was dead. Marcin wasn't in love anymore. Actually, it was worse than that. He was bored. He was seeing other women. He wanted Michelina out of the house. He wanted her out of his life. But Michelina wasn't just a girlfriend. She was the mother of his child. If they split up, it would be messy. There would be custody battles. There would be child support. Marcin didn't want messy. He wanted gone. He started to complain to his friends. He told them he wished she would just disappear. But wishing wasn't enough. He decided he needed help. He recruited a friend, Patrick Borys, a young man only 18 years old. Marcin told Patrick that Michelina was the problem. He manipulated him. Together they hatched a plan. It wasn't a plan to break up. It wasn't a plan to move out. It was a plan to dispose of her like trash. May 28, 2011. It started like any other day. Michelina was at home. She was getting ready. She was expecting a normal evening. Marcin was there. He seemed calm. She didn't know that earlier that day, he had been preparing. He had been clearing out a large cardboard box, a box that used to hold a computer monitor. He had punched air holes in it, not because he wanted her to live, but because he wanted her to stay alive just long enough to suffer. Michelina walked into the hallway. Without warning, Marcin stepped out. He was holding a taser, a 300,000-volt stun gun. He didn't say a word, he just fired. The prongs hit her. The electricity surged through her body. Michelina collapsed. She was convulsing. She was terrified. "Marcin, what are you doing?" But he didn't answer. Patrick grabbed her. They dragged her to the floor. They overpowered her. They wrapped duct tape around her ankles. They wrapped it around her wrists. They wrapped it around her mouth. They taped her so tightly, she could barely circulate blood. She was helpless, a package. Then came the box. They picked her up and shoved her inside the cardboard computer box. She was folded up knees to chest. It was cramped, it was terrifying. Then they taped the box shut. Imagine the darkness. 1 second you are in your hallway, the next you are in a confined black space, smelling cardboard and tape. You can feel the movement. They are carrying you. They carry the box out of the house. They put the box in the trunk of a car. Michelina was conscious. She was screaming into the gag, but no sound escaped the trunk. The car started moving. She tried to keep track of time. She tried to guess where they were going. But terror was taking over. She thought about her son, her 3-year-old boy who will take care of him. That thought, the thought of her son growing up without a mother, was the fuel she needed. It was the spark that kept her from passing out. The car stopped. She heard the trunk open. She felt the cool air of the night seep through the cardboard. They carried her again. They were walking for a while. She could hear leaves crunching, twigs snapping. They were in the woods. They dropped the box. It hit the ground hard. And then the sound began. Shovel dirt, shovel dirt. They weren't just leaving her in the woods. They were burying her. They piled soil on top of the box. Then they placed a heavy tree branch, a log weighing over 40 kilograms, 90 pounds, on top of the soil to make sure she couldn't push the lid open. Michelina lay there in the dark. She listened to their footsteps walk away. She listened to the car drive off. And then silence. Absolute, heavy, suffocating silence. She was under the ground. The oxygen in the box was limited. The air holes were blocked by the soil. She began to hyperventilate. She knew she had minutes. If she didn't get out now, she would never get out. This is the moment of truth. Michelina tried to move her arms. They were taped tight. She tried to kick. Her legs were bound. She tried to push the lid. It wouldn't budge. The weight of the log and the dirt was too much. She started to cry, but then she stopped. Crying wastes oxygen. She needed a knife. She needed scissors. She needed anything sharp. She had nothing. She was wearing simple clothes. Wait. She felt something hard pressing against her finger. The ring. The engagement ring Marcin had given her. It had a diamond. Diamonds are the hardest substance on earth. The setting was metal with sharp prongs. She twisted her hand. It was agony. Her wrists were taped together. She had almost no range of motion. She managed to maneuver her hand so that the ring was pressing against the duct tape binding her legs. She started to saw. Scrape, scrape, scrape. It wasn't a knife, it was slow, it was tedious. But the metal prongs caught the tape. She pulled, she ripped. One layer broke. Then another. Her legs were free. Now she could kick. But kicking the box wouldn't help if the lid was weighted down. She needed to cut the box itself. She used the ring again. She slashed at the cardboard. She tore at the tape sealing the box. She was running out of air. Her lungs were burning. She was getting dizzy. The carbon dioxide was building up. Just one more tear for my son. She ripped through the cardboard. Dirt started pouring in. This is a terrifying moment. As she opened the box, the soil fell onto her face. It went into her eyes. It went into her nose. She was literally choking on the earth. But she didn't stop. She pushed. She shoved her hands up through the soil. She felt the weight of the log. She pushed with everything she had left, an adrenaline dump that only a mother can summon. The log shifted. The soil gave way. A hand broke the surface. Then an arm. Then a head. Michelina Lewandowska erupted from the ground like a zombie in a movie. She gasped. The air was cold. It was fresh. It was the sweetest thing she had ever tasted. She clawed herself out of the hole. She stood up, shaking, covered in mud, tape hanging from her wrists. She was alive. She didn't rest. She couldn't. She didn't know if they were coming back. She ran. She stumbled through the woods in the pitch black. She didn't know where she was. She found a road. She stood there, a terrifying figure covered in dirt and duct tape. She tried to flag down a car. Imagine being that driver. You see a woman who looks like she just crawled out of a grave, because she did. A motorist stopped. He was shocked. "Help me," she gasped. "They buried me. They buried me." The police were called. When they arrived, they couldn't believe it. They went into the woods. They found the hole. They found the box. They looked at the log. They looked at the soil. One officer said, if she hadn't gotten out when she did, she would have been dead in 10 more minutes. Police rushed to Michelina's house. They found Marcin Kasprzak and Patrick Borys sitting there. Marcin looked bored. He was probably playing video games, waiting for the news report of a missing person. When the police kicked down the door, Marcin looked confused. "Where is Michelina?" they asked. "I don't know," he lied. "She left." "She didn't leave," the officer said. "She's at the station. She told us everything." The color drained from his face. He realized that the woman he thought was trash was actually a Terminator. The trial in 2012 was chilling. Marcin tried to defend himself with an excuse that insulted everyone's intelligence. He admitted to tasing her. He admitted to putting her in the box. He admitted to burying her. "But," he said, "I didn't mean to kill her. It was just a prank. I just wanted to scare her so she would give me custody of our son." A prank? You tase someone, bind them, put them in a box, bury them under 90 pounds of wood and dirt. As a prank. The jury looked at him with disgust. Michelina testified. She told them about the ring. She told them about the thought of her son. "I was not going to die there," she said. "I was not going to let him win." The jury deliberated quickly. Marcin Kasprzak was found guilty of attempted murder. The judge sentenced him to 20 years in prison. Patrick Borys, the accomplice, was found guilty of kidnapping, but cleared of attempted murder as the jury believed he was manipulated, and sentenced to 4.5 years. There is a poetic justice in this story that feels almost scripted. Marcin gave her that ring to promise her a future. When he decided to take her future away, he forgot to take the ring back. The symbol of his fake love became the tool of her real survival. He literally armed her with the weapon she used to defeat him. Michelina Lewandowska took her son and rebuilt her life. She is a private person now. She doesn't seek the spotlight. But her story remains one of the most powerful examples of the victim's perspective. Most people think of a victim in a box as helpless. Michelina proved that even in a box, even under the ground, you are not helpless if you can think. She didn't panic, she problem-solved. Step 1, free legs. Step 2, cut box. Step 3, push log. Step 4, live. This story taps into our deepest fears, but also our highest hopes. It reminds us that the human will is stronger than wood, stronger than dirt, and stronger than electricity. It reminds us that we are never truly buried, we are just planted, and if we fight hard enough, we can always break the surface. This story gives me claustrophobia just thinking about it. What would you have done in that box? Do you think you would have remembered the ring? Let me know in the comments below. If you are amazed by Michelina's escape, please hit that asterisk like asterisk button. It helps spread this incredible story of survival. And subscribe so you don't miss next week's video. I'll be covering the story of a woman who memorized the layout of a serial killer's bunker in total darkness. Stay safe, cherish your freedom, and remember, there is always a way out.